Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, 8:28 p.m. Let's get started here in a few minutes. Hope you guys are having a great rest of your Wednesday. Let me see. What was I going to do? Already have this pinned. Quote tweet. We are live! Exclamation point. Boom. There we go. Let's move this. Welcome back to the stream, people. We're covering Keyshawn Bennett. I said defensive lineman here. He's more of an edge prospect. We shall see. But if you're here, let me know. If you can hear me okay, also let me know. I'll try to make sure to minimize my face like that when the time comes. I have a bad habit of not doing that lately, so keep me honest, all right? If I don't make my head smaller when I pull up the film, keep me honest here. All right, Kechaun Bennett. Got a minute. I'm going to start a minute early. Went through his episode earlier today in a video. I'm going to post that in the chat right there. So anything you need to know about him, you can find there. He's on the 3-star, 4-star border, depending on who you ask there, right on that line. But he's an edge rusher. All right, at 6'4", 220, coming into University of Michigan. He is a guy expected to bulk up, be a little bit more kind of like a Josh Uche type player, right? That's kind of the quintessential edge rush player that you got to compare anyone to at Michigan. So he kind of fits that build. I think he could develop into more of a traditional defensive end. It's just a matter of how big he grows and how he develops his skill set. Because right now his pass rush is way ahead of his running game. He does play assignment football, and that's something that is a plus for him. But his overall skill set just depends how much he can grow. Right? He has a relative thin build overall, and that's just something where how much weight can you really put on and keep your athleticism, keep your skill set. So let's throw on the film here. Pull up trusty old, oops, I was already ahead. Pull that up. Let me pull up Epic Pen and my face. Got to make sure. Let's do it now. Small face. Okay. I swear, there's at least one in every, 2 comments on YouTube. It's like, your face is too big. And it's like, I get it. It's like, I get it. It's big face. All right, here we go. Keyshawn Bennett. We're looking at just his sophomore highlights. We don't have senior highlights. He didn't play senior year due to COVID. One thing you'll notice off the edge here right away, that get off. He's got pretty good get off. He fires off low. And he's able to kind of bend around the edge here, right? He's going to utilize his speed quite a bit. But that off-the-ball ability, right off the snap, fires off pretty low. Able to get up there. James Taylor with the minimize. I minimized my face, James. I did it. Just for you, buddy. All right, here we go. Play 2. It's on your left side of your screen here. So he played a lot with the hand in the dirt, which is good overall. There he does a good job kind of loading up, right? He noticed that this guard was coming on a pole here. So he loaded up, laid into him. Something he could improve on a little bit. His stack and shed ability isn't top notch, right? But good job of recognizing that, keeping his eyes up, able to redirect for the play there. And then he's mean mugging him at the end of the play. Oh, that's great. Love to see that. Oh, I missed him at the start of this play. Oh, guy spins right into him. What did he do at the start of this play? I didn't see him. So he's at the top of your screen here. Again, good get off. This thing that continues to pop up. He has good initial release. Is that music too loud? Oh, that should be okay. But good initial release. He fires off pretty low, pretty quick off the snap. It's good for him to be able to redirect inside there, right? He doesn't always have to go around the edge. That is where his best skill set is, but he doesn't have to. But he's still thin. You know, at 6'4", 220, you just don't have the strength to be a bull rush type of guy. What the? What was that? What did this quarterback do? He's just like, oh, here's a ball for you. Here he does kind of like an abridged little swim move right there, you can see. But again, fires off pretty quick. Gets upfield really well. I like the redirect ability there. Then able to jump on the ball, right? I mean, maybe not an earned turnover there. Quarterback kind of get him. I forget what I was even saying. All right, here he is cutting on the inside here. Again, he's able to do that because he gets upfield fast. That when he kind of works himself out of the play. What a strip here. The defensive back able to scoop that. Score. Welcome, Ty Black. Welcome to the stream. Go Blue. So that play was kind of like not the best for Kechaun Bennett because he wasn't really in the play. It was just a good play from the defensive back to get the strip there. So this is a good play, right? He has relatively good feet, right? Able to set up the tackle here. That outside step right there, that sets up the offensive tackle, sliding to the outside and just able to beat him with speed inside there. It's pretty poor effort, to be honest, from that tackle. But again, his ability to work off of the snap really quickly, utilize his speed, and then he has good closing speed right there, right? I mean, again, I mentioned Josh Uche just because it's a similar type of position, right? Similar kind of build. He doesn't have that level of athleticism. Few do, right? I mean, not everyone can be a top, top 10 athlete in your class overall, which I think Uche probably was, but I like his ability to, like, he can get a punch right there, right? Some violence to his hands, able to push that guy kind of out of the way on his, like, little stutter step move right there, right? So these are things that'll translate. His ability to get upfield quickly, right? He fires off low, relatively good footwork, not a whole lot of wasted movement there. Deliver the punch, kind of redirect inside, and then decent closing speed. And if he can keep all those skills while developing into a weak side defensive end, get him up to 250 or so, 260, like 250, 260, he could be a really, really versatile weapon. Now, if he can only get to like 240, then he will be more of a pure edge rush guy. But it'll just be interesting. I mean, with his frame, right, 6'4", you can conceivably get defensive end sized and be quite the weapon there. But I like him off the snap. He is good. He has really good speed off the snap overall. Not a lot of wasted movement, right? Good instincts. He has a long frame too. You notice his wingspan seems. He has some pretty long arms there. So yeah, he just seems like a guy who's just early on in what he's going to be doing. There's just a lot of projection there. He's definitely got to work on his handwork, right? This comes off a little bit lazy right here. He's just kind of like leaning into the guy, right? When you have your arm against the guy just like this, instead of firing out like this, right? That's just an easy thing to improve upon. But he just doesn't have the technique with his arms, right? He's more throwing his forearm into guys rather than using his hands and getting in there, right? And he's a wrestler, so I'd expect his handwork to be a little bit better. And he was a pretty accomplished wrestler as well. So overall, he understands balance. I think he understands leverage really well. So I think that'll put him at advantage while he's learning some of these things. Good agility here, man. This team obviously was just cut the guy. We can't block him. Good awareness there, using his hands to redirect that offensive lineman, shove him down, and then he redirects again. This guy going for the cut block, able to finish. Maybe a hair late. He kind of loads up in the NFL. That's getting a flag, but I like the ferocity there. And again, good closing speed. Not like super elite closing speed as a edge rush guy, but plenty good enough. And right there, man, he comes flying off the edge, right? Right here. This is like the eye-opening thing to me is his like initial speed off the snap. He like fires out of a cannon. More so than maybe anyone else in the class. Like that's where his he's truly elite right there. You just don't see that often. And that's something you usually see guys keep. Like that skill set, regardless of how big you get. He's firing off low. He has good technique. Boom. He just has good footwork. He's able to load up well. He's able to like unload extremely quickly. Causes a turnover there by getting pressure. So that's what I'm most excited about his skill set. And then it's just a matter of how does he grow? You know, will he continue to be in the 235, 240 range? Seems like he has a frame that you can put on 30 pounds, get to 250, 260. Maybe be more of a defensive end type. No, this guy wants a face mask. Was this a face mask? Good ability here to chase down the line of scrimmage, right? He realizes where the play is going, disengages here, runs down the line, takes a good angle. Ooh, that might have been a face mask. Then rips the guy down. But good tracking to the play. But I like him with his hand in the dirt, right? That ability to fire out that quickly, that's rare. And if he can bulk up, he's likely to maintain that and utilize that. You know, take advantage of that skill. And there's honestly not a whole lot of guys, I mentioned this on the video, not a whole lot of guys as like a true edge rusher type on the team. We had Luigi Villain. He was kind of in that role. He's in the transfer portal. He scared the crap out of that guy. But you got like David Ojabo, Braden McGregor, and that's kind of it. Jalen Harrell is another young guy who could fit that mold, but not a whole lot of bodies at that position yet. So he really has a good shot to contribute early in that role until he bulks up as a defensive end. Because my philosophy is always just, what does this guy do really well? And the earlier you can get him on the field to do those things, whether it's, you know, all games as a true freshman or 4 games or specific packages, you do that, man. Because it maximizes your chances of keeping that guy on your roster for years to come. It maximizes his ability later on to contribute because he's getting that on-field experience. He's getting used to that speed, that game speed. He's getting more comfortable. All those things, if they can contribute in a way early and you can build specific packages to take advantage of their skills that are elite, the skills that really brought them to the university, do that as quick as possible, man. Doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be 3-4 plays a game and that's it. But see what you got with the guy. So that's where, like, early on in his career, again, he has good change of direction here too, right? That's something where he's operating in the open field here. After he disengages with this guy, operating in the open field, he's able to change direction there 2 times pretty quick. Hey man, sorry for being late. No worries, John Sema. Thanks for coming. Could he go to stand up outside linebacker? It's interesting because what I've been saying, John Sema, I like his ability off the snap with his hand in the dirt. This thing that continuously pops out every time. Like, look at that, right? He pops off quicker than a lot of guys I've seen in the past few classes. He's just faster at that. So because he has experience doing that, because that's like his best skill to me, I want to get him in an opportunity to be that person. Now, I think he could. I think he probably, at this point, at his weight of 220, makes sense to be more of an outside linebacker, but I just don't think that's where I would want him to be put, if that makes sense. I want him with his hand in the dirt. Now, it might take, 10, 15, 20 pounds before you're comfortable doing that in a real sense at the University of Michigan, but I just don't think that's where his future is. Because, again, hand in the dirt, I think that's where he's best. Because that ability to fire off that quick is rare. See, I think he's at he's at the top of the screen. There. Okay, kind of a bull rush. Yeah, he just doesn't have the strength, At 220, 6'4", just doesn't have the strength yet to really be effective with his bull rush. He's got a good frame for it, though. Be curious to see what his wingspan would actually be. And here's another area. He could be a good punt blocker. Here he's on the field goal kick team, tracking a guy down. Yeah, John, he's not an immediate impact guy, really. The only reason he would be is if the existing edge rushers, which it is a short depth chart at this point, if for whatever reason they, weren't impressing. I think it's just too quick of a path. He did not enroll early, James. He did not. So that's another reason, right? New defense overall. I think you might be able to get him in on like 4 games. Again, look how quick he fires out, right? Just compare where he's at right as the ball snaps to where everyone else is at. And he's just like clearly a step ahead. Like he times it up extremely well, but then he's just fast, right? He just gets to his top speed extremely quickly. So again, I would try to get him snaps in 4 games just to get him up to speed, because an edge rusher, as you're building that strength, you can utilize his skill set early before he becomes what he actually will be, right? Because I think he will be a defensive end down the line. I think he can get up to 250, 260 and be utilized more in defensive end scenarios, but he doesn't need to be there to contribute as a freshman or redshirt freshman. He just has to be like 240 or so. Get him in specific packages. That's all you really need. And the less you ask him to do that, right? Like I would just focus on, hey, let's get you stronger. Let's build up some certain packages for your game. And we can worry about some like defensive end stuff later on, but we want to take advantage of your ability as a pass rusher. We want to be able to take advantage of your speed around the edge. Let's run you on this stunt to get you a free path to the quarterback because we like your change of direction. And those are things that you can do early on to build the guy's experience while still focusing on things that will need to happen for him to be a productive defensive end down the line. After watching earlier film, does Tristan Bounds make a couple cameos throughout? Tristan Bounds. Where did Tristan Bounds? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if Suffield Academy played Tristan Bounds. That's a good question. I didn't notice any like Ent-sized guys on the other team. I didn't notice that. It's possible. It's very possible, Charles Jones. Get Off kind of reminds me of Winovich. Yeah, I could see that. And Winovich was similar sized, right? If we go to Winovich. Yeah, out of high school, very similar size, right? 6'3", 225. That's pretty close to what you're looking at here, right? 6'4", 220. So yeah, I think you totally could have gotten that. And this was before a time, right, when Chase Winovich was early on. He bounced around a fullback. He bounced around linebacker before eventually getting to defensive end. That was a time where the edge rusher really wasn't a true position, right? So Bennett will probably have a very similar path to Winovich, where Winovich really only got to defensive end sized by his senior year, right? Junior, senior year. He only had a couple of years there. And the only reason that Winovich wasn't more productive earlier on in his career, I truly believe, is because defenses didn't understand how to take advantage of their pass rushing ability. So yeah, I could see Winovich for sure. I gave him kind of a mix between Mario Ojemudia and Frank Clark. Frank Clark more just because Frank Clark was more of a like truer defensive end type guy. So I think he's kind of like between that, but I think Chase Winovich is a solid comp. Yeah. So, I don't know. If I'm Michigan, I'm trying to get him involved early and use those, like, he's a guy who can be productive early on just as a strict pass rusher, and then you build him into a defensive end. And in like an alternate timeline, that's exactly what you do with Chase Winovich. Could be that. Now, Chase Winovich, I don't know if you'll ever see a motor on a guy like you see on Winovich. It is something that's brought up with Bennett, so that's a positive. And it's actually a really good comparison in terms of ranking, right? Kind of that 3-star, 4-star range from the Northeast, middling offers. So, yeah, I think that's fair. Winovich would probably be a ceiling. I don't know if Bennett quite has that, but the get off, man, that's. I always ask, like, what's the eyebrow raiser? And for me, it was like by clip 2 or 3. I'm like, all right, this get off is consistent and it is fast. More of an overall question for the end of the stream. How do you think expanded transfer portal will impact? I'm going to assume that meant recruitment in the future. It's going to be a thing. You're not going to see gaps on teams as much. If I'm Michigan, I start to hire assistants who are strictly looking at transfer portal guys, okay? Because you have recruitment, right? And you've almost always had recruitment. There's always been transfers, but that's more grad transfers. It's not as widespread. I think Michigan's at quite a disadvantage unless they change their admissions, right? Because admissions, transferring credits has always been tough getting into Michigan. We'll see. There's the, what's his last name? Jay Troya, the freshman defensive tackle out of USC that's visiting Michigan. That could be a step in the right direction where Michigan's like, hey, this transfer portal thing, it's going to happen. We want to fill gaps on our board. We're going to need to be a part of this transfer portal thing year in, year out. You're just going to have to be. If you truly want to compete with the big boys year in, year out, you're going to have to. Because it's going to happen to your program too. Guys are going to leave, and they're going to try to find a better situation elsewhere. It's just what it's going to be. And you can understand that. You can have your own opinion about it, but that's reality. That's just what's going to happen. So if I'm Michigan, you need to relax your standards a little bit. If you truly want to be a competitor at the top of the Big Ten, that you're just going to have to do that. Number 2, I would hire guys specifically to look at the portal, prioritize these guys, and make the jobs easier of the coaching staff to reach out to these guys. And you need 2 boards, okay? You need to be looking at it as, okay, what does our recruiting board look like? And what are the number of viable guys that we would actually want from the transfer portal, and at what positions? Because that's the thing. You're going to have your recruiting board, and as time goes on, you're going to have your transfer portal board, and you need to figure out a way to marry those, right? And it's tough because in recruitment, you can say, okay, we like a lot of offensive linemen from this class, right? 2022, right? But the 2023 class, they don't have a whole lot of offensive linemen we like, so we need to go really hard in this class on offensive linemen versus this, the later class. So we really need to load up on this one because we don't like the prospects we see from this later one. You can't do that with the transfer portal. You simply can't. So what I think you need to do, again, you need to split your resources. You need to have your guys who are looking at the recruiting board and have that, and figure out a good way to marry that with the transfer portal, but you can't have the same guys doing both. There's just too many guys to look at. So I guess my point is you need to kind of understand where your potential gaps are going to be, and then understand how you're going to fill those gaps. So I don't know. It's going to be awkward. That's like the main thing. It's going to be awkward. But I think it's going to only make stronger teams stronger. Like I think it's better for the players, and I think that's the most important thing. All right. If a guy wants to go contribute elsewhere, get a better shot, a coach can go wherever, right? After a year, a coach can go wherever, sign a contract for more money, and no one will say anything, right? That's just been part of the game. As soon as players do it, holy shit, it's terrible, right? That's some people's reaction, not a reasonable one. So it's better for the players, and you're just going to be able to fill gaps on your roster a lot better through the transfer portal. And overall, I think that's good. It just adds another element. Are you good at that, or are you not good at that? And if you dedicate resources to looking at the transfer portal, connecting with those guys, add more responsibility to people, maybe analysts, whatever, going through those lists to take advantage of that, you can fill your roster gaps a lot quicker. Where take a look at like defensive linemen, for example. Michigan had quite a gap there. You go back to the 2017 class, there were a ton of defensive linemen Michigan took in that class that have since transferred or never even played it down at Michigan. And that sucks, right? And without the transfer portal, Michigan had felt that for the past few years. You're just not going to have the number of defensive tackle guys coming through, transferring as grad assistants, as fifth year seniors, grad transfers. You just didn't have the numbers to make up that gap on those guys who transferred out or medically retired. You just didn't have that, and Michigan felt that at that position. So yeah, I think and when I say it's like better for the teams at the top, because what happens if a team doesn't find a good quarterback, right? Like say for this year for Ohio State, their quarterbacks are not good. Okay. Now maybe they would have a guy in the hopper, I know they have that 5-star that looks like the dude from Tiger King committed to them, right? But just say for an example, they have a really, really rough depth chart at the quarterback position. As soon as you get Justin Fields, right, you're set. You're set for a couple of years. As soon as you get another guy, and that's just one guy, right? Now take that concept and say, okay, instead of, that was a year where he needed a waiver for that. Now you can do that for literally any position, anytime, right? You can fill that gap with a really good player, and it can completely transform your team. So it can benefit anybody, but where are the first schools that those guys want to go to? The ones that have been to a playoff. That's Bama, that's Clemson, that's Ohio State. They're going to go to those teams. Oklahoma, right? They're going to go to those teams that are proven, because guess what? The best transfer players are going to go to the same spot that the best recruits are going. That's it. Quinn Ewers. Yeah, look at this guy. Oh, and people are like, oh, what a weird, like, I love it. Like, people are going to hate this guy. It's amazing, right? I mean, look at this dude. Look at this guy. It's amazing. How can you hate that? To be able to rock, oh my gosh, and he's got the Luke 7. Oh, look at that. This guy is... It's really sad he's going to Ohio State, because I would root so hard for this guy otherwise, right? Look at that hair. I love it, man. If you can rock that, if you can be a 5-star player, rock that haircut and be a good player, good for you. I can't hate on it. It takes a different level of confidence, right? I don't have that confidence. I wouldn't show my face if I can't even relate to the level of confidence it takes to rock that. Okay. All right, I think we're done here. Yeah, we're at about half hour. Vaughn, thanks for coming by. James Taylor, I love your music. I'm just kidding. But I'm sure you get that a ton. I'm sorry, James. John Sema, thanks for dropping in. Charles Jones, like the video, guys. Subscribe if you can. We're closing in on, what are we at? 3,900 now. Getting close. Ty Black, did I already say your name? Thanks for hopping in. But yeah, guys, I'll be back next week. Going to try to churn out some episodes. Get them edited at the lake house this weekend. That will be exciting. Not my lake house. Family lake house. Von Lozine is going to be so good, and we're all going to hate it so much. Love it and hate it, baby. That's what you got to do, Von. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Take care. Go Blue. Appreciate you guys. All right. Have a good Wednesday night. Take it easy. See ya.